It's Wednesday, March 8th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. We get the latest real estate numbers for Barnstable County during our interview with Register of Deeds Jack Mead. The Barnstable Youth Commission is gearing up for its third Youth Summit and Community Forum. We're going to chat about that with Youth Commissioners Sean Smith and Brendan Clark. And the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority wants to make sure students get to school on time. We're going to learn about a new route with CCRTA Administrator Tom Kerr. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The town of Barnstable is among the healthiest and happiest cities in the United States. Barnstable came in at number 2, just after Naples, Florida, in the Gallup Healthways State of American Well-Being Community Rankings. The report ranked communities based on how residents feel about their physical health, social ties, financial security, community, and sense of purpose. And just a note there, this is the second year in a row that Barnstable's received number 2. The Barnstable Police Department hopes a new directed patrol initiative will help reduce accidents and crime. Deputy Chief Matthew Sonnabend says they will have officers patrol specific areas at specific times during their shifts.
What it really is high visibility traffic enforcement and education for the public in a sector or portion of your town where you find that through data analysis that traffic accidents and other incidental crimes kind of overlap. So by establishing an area around that so-called zone and having police officers increase their presence there and increase their traffic activity, enforcing, traffic laws as far as, running red lights, stop signs, speeding, and that kind of thing, it increases their public interaction and therefore kind of deters the other crime that goes along with it, not only increasing traffic safety, but also bringing up the quality of life and driving down the crime rate.
Sonnabend says directed patrol initiatives have been successful in many other communities, and he hopes to see similar results here in Barnstable. West Barnstable residents using private wells will be able to test their water for free. DPW Director Dan Santos says monitoring wells near the West Barnstable shooting range tested positive for lead.
What we're doing is launching an investigation right now to understand where that lead is, where it may have come from, and there are other possibilities than it came from the shooting range, and that's what we're going to investigate. We understand that because just across Route 6, and the down gradient, or the way the water flows underground towards the north, that there are homes on private wells. And what we're going to do is make available at the county lab for folks to have their private well water sampled to make sure that there isn't any lead in there from the groundwater, from their water source.
Santos stressed that those lead concentrations do not exceed state and federal standards. Residents in the area will receive a letter with details about well testing. Up next, we'll get the latest real estate numbers for Barnstable County with Register of Deeds Jack Mead. And the latest real estate numbers for Barnstable County are out. Joining us now, we have Register of Deeds Jack Mead. Jack, what can you tell us about real estate in the month of February?
Well, we were down a bit in February of 2017 from a year ago, a little over 15% in terms of the volume of sales. Overall value was down 9%, but the median individual property sale value was up almost 9%. Interesting month. Shortest month of the year business-wise. We had 3 fewer business days this February than we did last February, so that probably explains the volume.
Yeah,
numbers.
And I just looking at the time of year too, not only did you lose a few business days, to which is going to really definitely affect things for the month, but also it's just kind of a nasty time of year. It's very cold. It's been probably pretty cold out there this month, a little bit of snow, so that doesn't surprise me either.
No, I've always said 1 month a trend does not make, so it's hard to, you don't want to put too much value in or stock in the idea that, for the first time in a bit we've been down for a month, and there is, losing 3 business days does make a difference in terms of our numbers. So last year was a leap year, so we had an extra business day and we lost a day because of the snow, and then there was an overall power outage in the in our neck of the woods for
that's
after
right.
the snowstorm, so that kind of shut us down for a while. So I think you don't want to put a lot of stock in, again, month-to-month numbers. You put them together and you start to see how things are going. And the positive is that our median sales number is still pretty strong, is high, and is well up from where it was a year ago, and it's consistent with what we've been doing. So I expected to see those numbers dip a little bit in January, February, and March, just because volume is lower.
Yeah, that is great news that the value has risen. What is the average value now for the month of February?
335,000 is the number for this February for our median value. That's all sales. That includes commercial and residential, and but that's 5,000 off from January. But it's a year ago we were looking at $3,850. So $300,850. So we're up a nice number from there, and we've been seeing a significant uptick in value since April of last year, and that continues. So I expect to see that value number going up.
Yeah, we like to see
forward.
that. I'm sure everybody that owns a home likes to see that as well, and make sure their investment is sound. And of course, people who may be using real estate as an investment. So pretty good news for that one. How are we doing for as far as foreclosures go?
Well, we're one positive. We were down 25% in the number of foreclosures for February. That still means we're up a little bit for the year, and we're still, we did 15 of them as opposed to 20 last year. That's still too many, obviously, and you'd like to see that start to slow down. It's very hard to predict and why and where these things are coming from. Looking back at them, it does seem like a lot of these are older mortgages that were taken out, say, 10 years ago when values were higher, than what they are now. And it's just maybe a matter of, it's just hard to maintain those payments at that rate with insurance, et cetera, going up for a lot of people. So that's probably, that's where we're seeing a lot of the foreclosures coming from.
So we'll keep an eye on those as the year progresses. I want to ask you a little bit. I know wintertime can be a pretty slow time for real estate. Is there a time of year when the real estate market really starts to pick up in Barnstable County?
The two busiest periods are the late spring and the fall. What we call the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and we're up for the calendar year, and that's when you really start to see the activity. So I'm hearing anecdotally that people are out, starting to come out in March, starting to look, for sales that may be taking place in May and June, and that's where we see a lot of our activity. And then later on in October, November, December, things pick up as well. So we have two pretty distinct periods of activity, the spring and the fall, and a lot of activity does start to take place as the snow gets off the ground and people start thinking about the summer home market, and just being able to go out and look at a house with a nice, where you can walk around and look at both the outside and the inside, and it's lighter, and there's a lot of things that
more time in the
make
day.
it easy to show a house. Yeah, when things are brighter and it just looks, there's a little more to it. So it's a nice. That probably triggers everything. Plus, people think about being here in the summertime, and then in the fall they're thinking about getting maybe if I can get in now, I can get the place ready for next year. That kind of thing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. Always look forward to getting the latest real estate values in Barnstable County. We really appreciate it.
Well, always a pleasure talking to you, Sarah. Take care.
All right, you as well. Talk to you soon.
All righty, bye-bye.
Our guest today, Register of Deeds, Jack Mead. The Barnstable Youth Commission is gearing up for its third annual Youth Summit and Community Forum. We're going to learn more with Chair Brendan Clark and Media Coordinator Sean Smith. So Brendan and Sean, thank you both so much for joining us today. Very excited about the third annual Youth Summit. And Brendan, this is your third year working on it. You are the chair of the Youth Commission. This must be it's your senior year as well, so it's your last Youth Summit. You must be pretty excited about this.
Yeah, it's always an exciting part of the season, and it's kind of our big capstone project. So I'm excited as always, and it's always a good opportunity for the commission to interact with the community.
So let's talk about it, because if someone is watching and hasn't maybe heard about the Youth Summit, maybe they haven't attended, tell us what this is really intended to do.
Sure.
So the Youth Summit is really intended to kind of make people aware of like what happens with drug addiction, and specifically opiate. We have a very big opiate problem on Cape Cod, and a lot of people think, well, that can't happen to me, but we really like to point out, like, you could be playing football and you could tear your ACL, and then you're given prescription painkillers, and a few small mistakes can lead to a really big life change. And we really want to highlight that so people know that what to look out for if that happens to them or it happens to a friend, so they can help their friend.
And I think it's such a huge issue too, because as we know, some of these painkillers are given out with prescriptions. Like you mentioned, many people use them, say after dental surgery or an accident of some kind, and they can be very habit forming. So I think just spreading the word and really letting teens know that this is a problem is so important. And you guys have selected, years ago when you started this project, you really selected that 7th grader right before they go into high school. You really wanted to reach the 7th graders before they entered high school. Why do you think that age group is so important to reach?
Yeah, so the transition period kind of comes between, they're going from that middle school atmosphere to that high school atmosphere, which gives such a significant time shift and a big cultural shift for a lot of students. So while we're seeing substance abuse get earlier and earlier, we feel like the access to it gets really more apparent when you've got seniors intermingling with 8th graders. So we kind of wanted to give people some information and some preparedness before they go in. Before
they have to deal with those high school pressures. Want to talk to you too. This is a 2-part event, really. So the first, March 16th, is a Wednesday night. Is that right?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. So this is where you're really going to try and talk to parents and community members all around. And you're actually having a really, really famous guest. Tell us who is going to be speaking.
So we're hosting Chris Herron, the former NBA player. He actually played for the Celtics, which is pretty cool. We get some of that Boston pride. So we hope students can relate to him in that way. And he really has a great story that he loves to share. It's kind of become his life. And he goes and talks about how he took one of those small steps that I just mentioned, and he ended up on painkillers and then actually ended up having to leave the NBA because of the problems with the drugs. But he's going to speak on Thursday night to parents. It's going to be more geared to parents, obviously, because that's who we're hosting. But he's going to try to explain like his story and what they can expect their students to learn about the next day.
Yeah, so important to get that message across. And this is really open for everybody. It is a free event to attend, is that right?
Yes.
And you guys it costs a lot of money to put this on. You guys have had a lot of community members donate to make this happen. Yeah. What community organizations have donated and been a part of this?
So the Lyndon Paul LaRusso Foundation was really our biggest donor. They gave us $15,000. And we cannot thank enough Mark Thompson and Sid Davidson and everyone over there who stepped up and contributed, because this is we really wanted to try to we've gotten a good turnout in the past, but we're really hoping that some of the celebrity nature of this will bring out more people to really address this community issue head on. So we could not be more thankful for them. The John F. Kennedy Memorial Trust Fund Committee also gave us $2,500 this year, and again for the 3rd year, First Student Bus Company gave us the transportation, which is just so much of such a large cost for field trips, just wiped away by their generosity. So we couldn't be more thankful for them.
Wow, such a great event. Everyone is welcome to attend, of course. Again, it is free. You do have a sign-up, though, is that right? Just to gauge how many, because there is a cutoff. I think there's like 600 people can attend.
Yes, it's going to be online. I think it's going to go out through the town website.
Wonderful.
So keep your eyes out for that.
We'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And then the second part of this is really that youth summit, where you're getting all of the 7th graders. And like you mentioned, the First Student Bus Service will donate the services. So they're going to be taken from Barnstable Intermediate School to the college for the day. And they're going to have a bunch of different opportunities. Walk us through what that day is like for the 7th graders.
So everyone starts in a different place. We break them up into, I believe, 4 groups. And they'll see, last year we created something called what we call high school activities, which is kind of like a branch for what students can expect to see in the high school, like as far as what's going to be available to them for clubs or sports. And we have some high school students actually come in and teach that, and it was very well received last year on both sides for students and high school students. And then we're also going to use Chris Herron. Who else do we have this year?
We have Gosnold, and they came back and they spoke last year and did kind of an interactive discourse with the students. And we also have the peer leadership, which is a group at Barnstable High School that goes in with the Anti-Defamation League and tries to bring awareness to some of those pressures.
So important. Are you going to have organizations from around the Cape, like you did in years past, where students can sort of take a cruise through and talk to some of these people from the organizations, learn about some different outreach areas?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, they're back again. Everyone last year was invited again, and I think we might have some newcomers. So
wonderful.
Always.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. I know this is such it takes a lot of hard work to do this. You guys are very dedicated, and I hope that it goes as well this year as it has in the past. Such a great, important event for our community. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, my guest today, Sean Smith, who is the media chair for the 3rd Annual Youth Summit, and Brendan Clark, he is the chair of the Barnstable Youth Commission. The Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority is making sure students get to school on time with a new route. We're going to chat about that with CCRTA Administrator Tom Kerr. Joining me now on the phone is CCRTA Administrator Tom Kerr. Tom, you know, the CCRTA is working really hard with a new program to get college kids to school on time. Tell me a little bit about this new route.
Well, yes, we for some time, we've really tried to develop a very strong partnership with Cape Cod Community College. You know, we have 400 square miles on Cape Cod that we're responsible for providing public transportation to, and I've always felt it's important to try to get folks to the education facilities in the best way possible. So, you know, we've developed a number of things, including a student pass, and new technologies allowed us to provide displays up at the school to let folks know where our buses are. We've got shelters on campus, so when the inclement weather comes, people can be sheltered from that. But just very recently, we had talked to President Cox about there had been some concern about students arriving a little bit late for one of their earlier classes, and so we contemplated running an express run from the Hyannis Transportation Center here at 8:30 every Monday through Friday, and it arrives up there at the school at 8:45, so the 9 o'clock classes folks can get to in plenty of time. And the president and I had communicated this past week because a lot of folks are taking it, and it seems to be working well. So it's just another example of the great partnership we have with the school, and I think the importance of connecting with the community, the education community, in terms of transportation needs.
Well, and the College Express departs from the Hyannis Transportation Center, which is fabulous. So that leaves the Transportation Center at what time was that?
Well, this particular run leaves here at 8:30, and it's good. It's timely. It's coordinated with all of our fixed route service that comes in here. We have 7 fixed route services from all over the Cape, from Woods Hole and Falmouth, from Bourne, from Sandwich. We have the Flex from down in Provincetown and Orleans, and we have H2O, and we also have the Villager and the Loop here in Hyannis. So, and those are all on half-hour headways or hour headways. So, at 8:30, all of those fixed routes somewhat converge in at the Hyannis Transportation Center, so you can jump right on the express and get out to school if you have a class at 9 o'clock. So, it's a good opportunity to coordinate with the important facilities on the Cape that a lot of people take advantage of.
Yeah, such an awesome opportunity for people taking classes at Cape Cod Community College from across the Cape, no matter where they are. And you did mention the student pass, and I want to talk about that for a little bit because it does give about a 25% discount for students. So really important if you are a student to get that student pass. How would someone go about obtaining that?
Well, that doesn't just apply to the college. That applies to all students across the Cape, K through 12, actually. And all you need to do is actually come in and get the and just sign up for it. And once you have it, it lasts for a year. And we're actually looking at ways to make it more convenient for people so that they can just re-up online. But right now, it's basically you have to come in and get the pass here. There's a reduction in the fare, and it works for all Cape Coders who are getting educated anywhere on the Cape.
Wonderful. How is the season? You guys are gearing up for another season of the Cape Flyer coming up. It's springtime. When does the Cape Flyer begin running?
Cape Flyer begins on Memorial Day weekend. But everything is good. We're preparing. We've got, as you know, our friend Kathy Jensen, who's our HST coordinator as well as the Cape Flyer coordinator. She's out and about, doing the necessary marketing and getting the various gifts and things that go along with various programs we have connected to the Cape Flyer. And because we're able to do that a lot earlier this year, she tells me that we're anticipating an even greater year. And in the previous 4 years, we've had, great success with each year succeeding the previous year in success. So we're very pleased and hopeful this is going to be a great year. And I'm talking to Wendy Northcross. I mean, the summer looks good in terms of employment. We anticipate a lot of visitors. So all things are go, and the rest of our system here is working very well as well. We've got our ridership on our fixed route is all up, and we're monitoring a lot of our general data ride trips to see how we can make those better. And our Boston Hospital run is working well with a lot of folks riding that every day. So things are going very well for us, and we're very pleased to be able to provide the very best and safe public transportation that we can for all of us on the Cape.
Well, we're glad to hear it, Tom, and thank you so much for talking to us about this new route to Cape Cod Community College. Sounds like that's a success as well. And I'm going to be counting down the days till that Memorial Day weekend. Can't wait.
Great, Sarah. Thank you so much, and thanks for your support.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye-bye. My guest today, of course, CCRTA Administrator Tom Kerr. So much more to come on Barnstable Today. Now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Cotuit Library will introduce coding to kids this Saturday. Kids will play fun games like Cubetto and Dash and Dot to learn about the vast and complex world of computer coding. The event takes place from 11 a.m. to noon this Saturday, March 11th. Call the Cotuit Library to sign up. The Barnstable Recreation Division is teaming up with the Cape Cod YMCA to offer waterfront and lifeguard training. Waterfront and lifeguard training will be available for ages 15 to 18 at a cost of $180. Junior lifeguard training will be available for ages 13 to 18 at a cost of $60. Both programs begin March 28th. You can learn more about the program by contacting the Recreation Division. Now here's a look at this week's Board, Committee, and Commission meeting schedule. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show. Tomorrow we will chat with Town Manager Mark Ells, and we'll chat with Town Councilor Phil Wallace and much more. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.